Brad, are you ready to preview the Iowa Hawkeyes?
Yeah, we could do a history lesson. I can keep it brief though. I try not. I'm trying not to make it a lecture. We're not in college anymore. We don't need to sit around and have Professor Goom and giving a spew on Iowa football, right? But,
it was nice when we were recording the podcast and it was just me and you, and then you would just teach me about all the history of these programs. But I do get it.
Yeah. Now that we have a much bigger live audience, I'm trying to change it up a little bit. So let's flash back to 1952. With that being said,
let's keep it brief. We're going to the 50s.
We're going to the 50s. This is the breakout of well, they have, pre-World War, one. I'm not gonna discuss it. They have a couple conference titles then. But 1952, they hire Forrest Evashevsky. He ends up winning 3 conference titles, goes to 3 Rose Bowls, goes to 2 Rose Bowls and wins both of them back in 56 and 58. Then he wins the conference title again in 60, but they didn't go to a bowl game. I'm trying to figure out, that was his final season, and they didn't go to a bowl game because I guess Minnesota went in over them, is what I'm gathering, and they just didn't have that many bowl games back then, is what I'm gathering as I'm looking at this live. And then they go into it, and then he becomes the AD, and they kind of go into the dark age, right? They don't win until 1979. So we're talking a 20-year winning hiatus for Iowa. They're I don't know how big the football was back then, but they're craving some wins, at this point. They hire a guy by the name of Hayden Fry. Hayden Fry. That's an important name to know if you're going to be a Big Ten fan ever. This guy never won a Rose Bowl, won 3 conference titles, lost all 3 Rose Bowls. But, talk about building what Iowa is today. That is the guy from 1979 to 1998. Iowa is what it is right now. Like that 8-4, always good. Can't sleep on them. Can never look ahead of Iowa if they're on your schedule type team. That's what they still are to this day. And he ends up retiring, fizzles out toward the end, and they go and hire the guy by the name of Kirk Ferentz, who was a assistant coach on some of those Iowa teams. But before that, I believe he was the associate head coach and O-line coach on the Ravens. But he was the O-line coach for Iowa throughout the 80s. Right. And so they take a chance. They bring back one of their own. I think Hayden Fry definitely had something to do with that. He's like, bring over Kirk to take over for me. It'll be great. He's got some NFL pedigree to him. And they hire him in 1999. He goes 2 losing seasons in his first 2 years, but then just does not look back. Basically having a winning season every year minus 2012. Winning season every year besides 2012 up until now. They've had 10 straight years of 8+ wins in full seasons. So I'm discounting their 6-2 year during COVID. But that's a good rate of winning right there. That's 9-3 rate right there. 6-2. That's basically 9-3. So they're still on the pace. Like, just the amount of consistency that this program has had since the hiring of Hayden Fry in 1979, unbelievable. If they never got the national title, which is why they'll never be considered a blue blood, but it's hard for me to find a program that has only had 5 losing seasons since 1979. How many other programs are there out there? Like, that's insane. That is an insane run of success. And that's what I want Indiana to be, plus a couple national titles.
Yeah, I was about to say, why do you think they haven't been able to break the glass ceiling per se?
I would say,
how come they can't recruit a quarterback?
Recruiting is probably a big thing. Their location, right? Being in Iowa, I'd say it's hard to get the top quarterback in the nation to go to Iowa when he's probably getting talked to by Notre Dame and Ohio State and USC and Tennessee and all those schools, and it's just hard to they've gotten good players like CJ Beathard was hella good. Nate Stanley, who they brought up on the podcast, who I haven't thought of in decades. He was really good. And fun fact, my dad went to South Pass High, and his quarterback in his senior year ended up being the quarterback at Iowa. Actually, so they were actually able to get a kid. He wasn't the top quarterback in the country, but they were able to go into California, South Pasadena High School, and get their guy and go to the Rose Bowl with him. They're able to do their thing. But just no national title, and it's kind of feeling like the tail end of Kirk Ferentz's career as he just broke the Big Ten wins record. So it really feels like a matter of time before he might hang him up, and they are going to have to name a successor, whoever that may be. But Iowa's still good, and that brings us to the game on September 27th in Iowa City on Peacock.
On purpose this time.
Insane. Really hope Sluggers has Peacock. 2:30 Central Time, 3:30 Eastern for you folks out in Indiana. It's the Iowa Hawkeyes taking on the 11th ranked Indiana Hoosiers, hosting them at Kinnick Stadium. Last time the Hoosiers went to Kinnick Stadium, they had a lot of buzz too back in 2021. And this feels like a redemption opportunity for that team, right? Tom Allen just wasn't ready for that moment at all. And they got the doors blown off them. 34-6. I haven't looked at that score since I don't even think I knew the final score until I looked at it just now.
I definitely didn't know the final score. I just remember Riley Moss. I just remember Riley Moss returning 2 pick sixes and Penix getting hurt and just being like, I can't fucking believe this is my life right now.
Yeah, insane.
I remember explaining to my cab driver on my way out to my apartment in Massachusetts how good Indiana football was going to be and that Penix was a Heisman contender and yada, yada, yada. And then they did that.
Penix was a Heisman contender just 2 years later.
Yeah. Never wrong, just early.
Yeah, never wrong, just early. Exactly. They end up going 2-10. And then, that game is the reason why we have Curt Cignetti now. That's the snowball that started the whole thing to get Curt.
Should it be #Thank You Iowa?
#Thank You Iowa. But now it feels like it's come full circle. We're now 15-2 under the new Cignetti reign, and we're taking on a very consistent, a team that doesn't beat themselves type ball club. Yeah, they can't throw the ball, but on a given day they probably could. They can figure it out. They got a good coaching staff.
Yeah,
this is not a game to be taken lightly by any means and come in cocky and think that we're going to stomp them in Kinnick. That is unheard of to go into Kinnick and give them a stomping. You go. I'm gonna do some research real quick.
I got some notes on Iowa before we jump into the keys to the game or the keys to success. Just on Gronowski first. Obviously, you look at the stats. The first 2 games, putrid. But through 2 games, he was the worst passer in the history of the league, which not good. But just about him, he's a winner. He's gritty, high character. I keep referencing the promo or the short or whatever the feature that Fox ran on him and his younger brother during the Iowa State pregame. He's just an easy guy to root for. Cignetti spoke glowingly about him, about his ability to make throws. And again, the guy's won a lot of football games. He's gritty, and they built the offense around him. The other thing, though, and this was something that was concerning the VOCFB Iowa guys, they run him a lot. He is their leading rusher. And in the Big Ten, where it's going to be physical, I don't care how good your offensive line is, you can only protect the ball carrier for so long before he makes contact with somebody. So they're going to hit him. They're going to hit him a lot. And if Iowa is going to basically Riley Leonard Gronowski in this game and run him up the middle 15 times, he's going to get hit hard 15 times. So kind of tough to keep. Feels like that style of offense going in the Big Ten if you're not going to be this guy who's going to make a lot of dudes miss and get down without getting hurt. It does hurt Iowa a lot. Their second leading rusher and their number 1 running back isn't going to play in this game. I believe their tight end is also out for this game as well. Do you have a note on Gronowski, Brad?
I don't have a note on him specifically. I just think, I think he's a very talented player. I think he's going to pose problems for us in ways like his ability to use his legs, which is kind of culminated into his inability to throw the ball has resulted in him being kind of a decent rusher of the ball. He's been able to get it done, and that's a guy that can get gritty first downs for that ball club and continue to move the chains and get momentum for his team in a home game against a top-ranked team. And I was just looking up some research on ranked teams to go to Iowa since COVID. There's Indiana, eviscerated them, 34-6. Penn State, ranked 4 at the time, lost 23-20. Now, at that point, Iowa was ranked 4 in the country, and they had a good team. They ended up going to the Big Ten title game where they got slacked by Michigan in a neutral site, but they took care of business at home that year. They also ended up losing to Purdue, an unranked Purdue at home that year. Just going to say that. Michigan, number 4 the next year in 2022. They lost 27-14. And that's really about it. That's the only ranked teams they've had. So it's funny for them to bring those things up. They're 2-1 against ranked teams in Kinnick since COVID, but yet they're still bringing up on the Iowa podcast the 52-24 game against Ohio State that happened in 2017. I was a freshman in college. That's so long ago.
It's almost 10 years ago.
Damn near 8 years ago. Actually 8 years ago. And, is this the same old Iowa? Who played for Iowa in that game in 2017? Who was their quarterback?
Well, dude, I'll tell you what. They had much more talent on
There you go.
Well, they probably – and who was playing tight end and who was playing receiver and who are the running backs? I'm not – who are those playmakers that are going to help Gronowski out in this game? Because you're going to see – Indiana's going to put 10 guys in the box in this game.
They're going to make them throw it.
They're going to be like, there's the receiver. Go ahead, throw it.
Please throw the ball. I dare you.
There's going to be 9 guys in the box the entire game.
Yeah, I am a little worried. I think Caden Weechin's a really good player.
Yeah, that was my next. He was my next
in the
note.
Special teams game and on offense, they can get him going.
They don't get him the ball enough, Brad. He's got 10 touches on offense for the year. They have one receiver with 8 catches. Everybody else is under that. The fact that this dude doesn't get the ball more often was my biggest. I literally wrote down they need to get him the ball more. But he leads all qualified returners in the Big Ten in kick return yards, punt return average, kick return average, and touchdowns in both. He is by far their best weapon. He killed Rutgers in the kick game. Signetti already noted it. He went 104, 105 yards untouched. Brandon Frankie's going to be massive in this game, and whether it's Quinn Warren or it's McCarthy.
Yeah, I think we should stick to starting when Iowa has the ball, right? When Iowa has the ball, we're going to stack the box. We're one of the best rushing defenses in general, even when we don't stack the box. So, we might not even have to, right? That's not, a thing that we really do. We're just a good run defense. We don't need to stack the box. We have it figured out, especially with Landino breaking out like he has. We have him, and then they're backed up by 2 senior veterans with Ratcliffe and Wheeler, and they got freakish athletes in Wyatt and Kamara, and it's just going to be too much for them to run the ball. And then that's the strength of their team is running the ball, and it's almost like it poses in our let's pretend that's a wash, right? Let's imagine. Okay. It's amped up. They have the home edge. That becomes now a wash, if not Iowa slight edge. Let's imagine that, right? I'm not saying that's what's going to happen.
No, let's just call it that.
They're still going to have to score to a point where they're going to catch up when we have the ball, to where they're going to have to throw it. They're going to have to throw it, and it's just their weapons. Our DBs are so fucking good, right? Jamari Sharp's kind of figured it out. Right, that we do have some susceptibility. Signetti called it out with the safeties. Louis Moore and Farrell have been great, but there's been at times apparently miscommunication on the back end where we could get exposed on a deep ball. Now that won't matter if Mikael Kamara and Wyatt and Daly and Landino and Tucker are in Gronowski's face. That won't matter, right? And yeah, that's how I envision. It's just hard for me to imagine this Iowa offense getting 20 points. And it's hard for me, and I'm trying not to talk about moving on to when we have the ball, but it's hard for me to imagine we're not scoring 20 because I don't think that's ever happened in the Cignetti era. Besides Notre Dame and Ohio State. And these teams are not – this is not Notre Dame and this is not Ohio State. This is Iowa. A good team, albeit, but I don't think they're playing in the national title this year. I'm just going to go out and say it. I don't think Iowa's playing in the national title this year.
One thing they do well, again, like Illinois, they have a bunch of different guys who can get after the passer. They have 6 guys with 1 sack. Max Llewellyn's their big dog in terms of getting to the quarterback. He's got 4. You highlighted a couple of their defensive linemen when we
Graves
spoke to the
and
Iowa
Max
guys.
Llewellyn are really good.
The Iowa channel actually put they were like, we can't get to the quarterback. Like, we struggle to even generate a pass rush. Like, those guys aren't as good as you're saying they are. And the things that we were trying to say that like Iowa was good at, we were getting pushback on. And then at the end of the conversation, it's like Indiana doesn't stand a chance. They're coming into Kinnick. It's like, did we just have this conversation? Like, how was that?
It's still set hike. Hit the guy in front of you. Football. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter where it's happening. Indiana is going to fucking punch you in the mouth. That's what's going to happen. And these guys just don't. They're not.
It's also not.
It's not clocking to you that I'm standing on business. You know.
And for as much as people want to give the Indiana shit for their schedule, like Iowa in the 2 cupcake games they got, Albany and whoever the hell they played, or I guess Rutgers or whoever it was.
Yeah, Albany and then UMass, and then they were trying to tell
UMass.
Going to Iowa State and going to Rutgers is somehow tougher than automatically tougher than going obviously we had all home games, but Old Dominion and Illinois, I'd say Old Dominion and Illinois are equal to a Rutgers Iowa State. Yes, they had those games on the road, but how
Iowa has,
why the Vegas spread for a home field advantage is only 4 points. It's only a 4-point swing in Vegas for a home advantage in football. There's a reason why it's only that.
It's 3, but yeah.
Really, three both ways, 3 to neutral.
No, so if it was a pick 'em on a neutral field, the home team becomes a 3-point favorite.
Okay, so it's a 6-point swing. I was wrong. I said 4. It's 6 is what I meant. Yeah. So if we were home, we'd be 2 touchdown favorites. Okay, just making sure. And if we were neutral, we'd be 10-point favorites. Okay, just making sure. All right.
Yeah. Iowa's not even forcing. They're not even forcing turnovers. They have 2 turnovers on the year. They forced 2 turnovers on the year. Their turnover differential is 0. They're not even getting at they're not. It's going to get again. I'm not trying to disrespect this, but I'm just looking at this football game objectively, and I'm going, okay, cool. Iowa can run the ball, but what happens when they have to throw the ball because it hasn't looked good? Yeah. And Iowa can't defend the pass, and Iowa isn't the number 1 rush defense in the country. You're telling me Indiana's not going to be able to run the ball in this game? This isn't the game where the running stops. I'm sorry to the Iowa fans who aren't able to understand that, but this Indiana football team is going to move the football on the ground. You have to be able to score 28 to 30 points.
Rushing yards, and that's just not going to happen.
It's crazy.
Hold us under 200.
Crazy.
You might. That's a possibility, but we can still put up 300 passing yards on top of that and be just fine.
Yep. I will say, though, the crowd and the environment will be a challenge, and it's not going to be one of these environments like Penn State or like Oregon who has the talent to back up the way that their team is being talked about in the media. But this is as tough of a road environment you're going to find in the Big Ten. This is not an easy place to play, and Indiana better be ready to play there and better be ready for the noise.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And, we remember their first road game all the way out west last year, and they showed up just fine first game.
There's no noise in no noise in that stadium, though.
Wait, what was their first loud game? Probably the Michigan State game.
Yeah, it was late in the season.
As long as they just don't go silent count, we should be fine.
Yeah. Well, Cignetti said they've been working on some stuff in practice, and he wasn't going to delve into what that was. So
obviously he's not. I would tackle him if he was about to say anything about that.
We're about to jump into keys to success, Brad. If you're watching,
did we talk about when we have the ball?
Oh, do you want to talk about that? Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
when we have the ball, we're gonna run it up the middle. We're gonna run the ball, and then if we can't do that, we are better on the outsides. We just are. Apparently, Deshaun Lee has been struggling, according to the Iowa guys. That's their best corner. He's gonna have to go up against Surratt. If he's struggling, I can't imagine who's guarding Coop and who's guarding EJ.
That's what I'm saying. There's no days off in this Indiana receiving
what are
core.
you-
Good luck. You're not hiding him somewhere.
Man, and special teams, yeah, I guess we'll get into keys of the game because we'll talk about special teams and that.
Well, I was going to say, if you're watching on the Sigs Inside X or Twitter page, hop on over to YouTube. You can hop in the chat, like, comment, subscribe, hang out on YouTube.